Today I'm going to be cooking samp with beans. I use Xhosa brand. I've used it for so many years and I like it. These are the sugar beans that I'll be using. Then I also have my cup for measurements. This is a traditional dish for the Xhosa people. We've used it back in the ancient years and it's a meal that we still enjoy. And it's actually best cooked and best made from that three-legged black pot where you cook with an open fire from outside. Now I'll take you through on how to prepare and how to cook it and how long does it take. I use a measurement of 2:1. 2 cups of this samp plus a cup of beans. Now there you go, people. That's my ratio. Two cups of the samp and 1 cup of beans. Now this can serve maybe like 2 to 4 people depending on your portions and how much you eat. And because the meal expands, you don't really need too much of it, otherwise you might have too much of the food. But this is how it goes. Then I'm going to be hand picking the samp, especially the ones which are not looking good, things like this one, you know, or beans which are spoiled or rotten. I remove them and take them out, and then after that I'm going to soak my samp. So now I'm done doing the hand picking. As you can see, these are the spoiled ones, the ones which are like rotten and stuff. And Xhosa, we call them umngqusho because they're quite small. And then this is my picked samp mixed with beans. As you can see, I'm ready to rinse it. This is the rinsing method. I'm rinsing it with cold water. So you've got options of separating the spoiled ones. This is the secondary method. So after hand picking it, I can rinse with water. We will see this, like if for example I had not hand picked, you'll see most of the stuff that is light, you'll see it floating on top of the water. Then that's when you actually rinse it and let it go down the drain. Another option is you can use a sieve before your rinse, so the sieve will collect all the small ones that will be left behind. Or you can even use a colander, that instrument that we use when we rinse our rice and our spaghettis. But I still prefer this method. I think it took me about 15 minutes, yes, to hand pick. Usually for events whereby people are hosting like big gatherings like funerals, weddings and parties, I don't think they use my method of hand picking because that's gonna take like forever. I think they just jump straight into this secondary method where they just rinse with water. So if you are lazy like them, you can always go for this method. So you can see there's small things floating around. So those are the things that you don't want in your food. You just let them go down the drain. They actually automatically picking themselves out, so you don't have to do the job. That's the secondary method. Mine, I had to do a primary method, and then this is a secondary step that I'm taking. After 3 or 4 rinsing, this is how my samp looks like. Nice and clean. Now I'm gonna pour hot water and soak it. The soaking, you can do it overnight. That's what other people prefer, because samp really does take long to cook. Can take anything between 2.5 hours to 4 hours depending on your temperature and also the medium that you are using for cooking. Some people, you can always, if you don't want to do it overnight, you can soak it in the morning, and then if in the afternoon it's ready to cook, so that you don't have to eat late. So guys, when you cook your samp, you'd want to add 1 beef stock, right, at least, or a half, depends on how much salt you like. Don't forget to add a little bit of coconut oil If you don't have coconut oil, you can always add any cooking oil just to give it that little bit of taste. Now on to making something tasty to season our stew. So I've made a beef stew. It can even be lamb stew, it's really up to you, or mutton stew. So I'm just using the basic paprika and cayenne pepper, rich oxtail. You can also add hearty beef. I find it to be very tasty. And obviously your beef flavor, your beef stock. So to also thicken it up, I always keep a little bit of flour, so maybe I'll add just a spoon or half a spoon, and then once I'm done, I'm gonna add it onto my stew. Remember guys, I'm just using basically what I have. Your soup will obviously have that little bit of flour, so you don't need to add too much of the flour. The reason why I'm adding a bit of flour is because I'm using my spices. So with spices, you're not limited. You can put whatever flavors that really tickle your fantasy. It can even be mixed herbs. Some like 6-gun, but I don't like 6-gun for everything. Yeah, black pepper as well. It's really entirely up to you. So those spices, they blend quite well with your flour just to thicken it. You're basically making your own soup or your own thickener, if I can call it that. Oh, how can I forget my favorite? Let me look for it. This sauce, guys. Oh wow, Worcester sauce. So I can never cook a meal, especially a stew, without this. This is my secret recipe, so it really enhances the flavor. It gives it that little bit of black or dark brown color into your stew. So just hold up, I'll show you once I mix everything. So I already have my potatoes here. I've got my carrots chopped. I also have my peas, so that to give it that flavor. So when I cook my stew, I obviously start with the meat, maybe boil it for like an hour and a half, because you know beef or mutton or any type of meat except for chicken and fish, I'll say the red meat, it usually takes longer to cook, especially when there's bones. So take it as like making lamb shank, for example. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So here I am adding my sauce, my Worcester sauce to the meal. And I'm gonna see, it's gonna give it that nice color and flavor, not just color. You can see my stew was just plain, but with the sauce you can see it's turning brownish, because obviously color and presentation is everything when you're cooking, right? So I've got my mix ready here. My soup, spices, soup, yes, and a bit of flour. Then I'm gonna pour it into my stew. This is obviously to thicken it. Yeah, I'm gonna rinse that with a little bit of hot water and pour it into here. So now you can see the colors, the flavor. So guys, I just basically cooked whatever was in the fridge. This is not necessarily the stew cuts, but I just took whatever is in the fridge. Most of the time when I cook, that's basically what I do. I cook what I have. It's called improvising. Hey, what can we say? We can't always be buying new things, you know, buying new meat in the middle of the month, or just make the best out of whatever that you're cooking and be in a good mood so that the food can taste good. Yeah, that's my secret recipe. Cook what you love, make the best out of whatever you have, be innovative, be creative in the kitchen, and yeah, your food will turn out nicely. All right, there you go. Here's my samp with stew. Done. It took me exactly 2.5 hours to prepare and cook. Yes, now it's time to enjoy. Best served On a very, very cold weather like today, all those cold fronts. But hey, like I always say, make sure that you eat in proper portions and you actually run this off, exercise this off, gym it off, because you can't really eat hearty food every day. It's just on special days like this one. I hope you've learned a thing or two. And yeah, that's just how you prepare it. I know some places, I think they sell in canned food. You'll be so shocked what happened nowadays. People sell samp in cans. I'm not a big fan of that. I still believe in old school of cooking it this way. Until the next one, bye.